Hi, this is Dan Smith of DPS Legal Counsel, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about copyrights and why, if you are an entrepreneur that creates copyrighted material in your business, why you might really want to consider filing for copyright registration for your copyrights. So first, let's just talk about what is a copyright. A copyright is a form of intellectual property. It protects authorship, original authorship, that is basically published and is put into some type of tangible form, such as, for example, such as literary works, books, stories, things of that sort, musical works, songs, that type of thing, dramatic works, and other things that are original works of authorship. So a lot of times you'll have businesses that will create copyrighted materials, which might be some type of content that the business either sells or uses in the conduct of its business. Some type of content, which could be books, articles, could be music, could be all types of things, particularly if the business is involved in selling content such as books or music or some type of course, a teaching course for people who buy those things from the business. If you're creating copyrighted materials either as a part of what you do generally as a business, selling copyrighted materials, or you're just using copyrighted materials in the marketing of your business, you might want to consider registering your copyrights. Now, when you create a copyright, as soon as it comes into tangible form, it's put and publishes in tangible form, the copyright arises. You have a copyright. You have a protectable ownership in that original work. So if you were to, for example, write up a manual that is part of your business and you publish it, you put it in written form, and maybe even put it up on your website, as soon as you create it, put it in some type of tangible form and it's published, you own that copyright. The copyright belongs to you. It arises automatically without the requirement for registration. Typically what you'll want to do to put the world on notice that you are claiming a copyright in that material is to put the little C in a circle at the bottom of your copyrighted material with your name and the year that you created the copyright. And you'll see that all over the place. Just start looking either in books, articles, websites, you name it. If you look, you'll see the little C in a circle with the name of the copyright owner and the year in which the copyright was created. That is a way of putting the world on notice that you claim a copyright in it, but it's not copyright registration. If you want to register your copyright, you have to make a filing for that copyright in the Copyright Office, and you can either do it online or through a mailing to the Copyright Office. So why would you want to do that if the copyright arises automatically when you create a work of original authorship and put it into tangible form? Well, the reason you might want to do that, there are several. One is if someone infringes or starts using your copyrighted materials without your permission, and you want to sue that individual or that party for copyright infringement, unless you have a copyright, a registered copyright, and you have the certificate for your registered copyright, you cannot file a lawsuit for copyright infringement. The Supreme Court last year in 2019 decided in a case involving copyright infringement that merely filing for copyright registration does not give you the right to sue for copyright infringement. You have to have the copyright proceed all the way to full registration in order to file your lawsuit. And so since it takes a bit of time once you file for a copyright to actually get the registration done and to get the certificate. It's better to do it sooner rather than later, and you do not want to wait until it's a problem and you want to file for copyright infringement, because for a number of reasons. One is that it may take you 3, 6, 9 months or longer to get your copyright certificate once you file the application. Now, another reason besides having the ability to sue for copyright infringement that would make you want to file for copyright registration is that if you have a registered copyright, you have a certificate with copyright, with a copyright that you file with the U.S. Copyright Office, if someone infringes your copyright and you sue that person or that individual or that company, if you have a registered copyright and the infringement occurs after you got your certificate of registration, you can sue that party for what is called statutory damages. All that means is you don't have to prove you lost anything through their use of the copyright. All you have to show is that you have a copyright, they infringed it, and then under the statute itself, you're entitled to what are called statutory damages. Now, statutory damages are in the amount of them is in the discretion of the judge hearing your copyright infringement case. It's in a range from, and it's based on the number of works that have been infringed. So if you have one work that has been infringed, the judge can decide to grant you statutory damages in a range between $750 per work infringed up to $30,000 per work infringed. That's a big range, $750 all the way up to $30,000, and it's in the discretion of the judge. Now, if the judge determines that the infringement was willful or intentional, the party knew that you had a copyright and infringed it intentionally and willfully, the judge can increase that amount from a maximum of $30,000 per work infringed up to $150,000 per work infringed. Now, if the infringement is what is called innocent and the infringer was not aware that there was a copyright involved, that you had a copyright in the material, the judge can reduce the statutory damages down to as low as $200 per infringement. So you see there's a big range, but the big thing is it does make it possible for you as a business person, as an entrepreneur, to get statutory damages for copyright infringement if you have a registered copyright. Now, I said that you would want to have a copyright registration before you could sue, and you would need to have a copyright infringement before the infringement occurred in order to get statutory damages. That last statement is not exactly 100% true. Here's the thing. If you file your for your registration for your copyright within 3 months of the creation of the copyright, even if the infringement occurs before you get your registration, if you file for the registration within 3 months of the creation of your copyright, then the copyright protection and the ability to get statutory damages relates back. It's retroactive back to the date that your copyright arose, which is the date that you created and put into tangible form your original work of authorship. So, for example, if you were to create an original work of authorship on January the 1st and you filed for registration on March the 1st, 2 months later, but the infringement took place on February the 1st, a month before you filed for registration, even though you did not have your registration in place at the time of the infringement, because you filed within 3 months of the creation of the original work of authorship, it would be retroactive once you got your certificate of registration, and you would be entitled to statutory damages for that particular infringement. So, in summary, you will want to file for registration for copyrights in order to allow you to sue for copyright infringement, number one. Number two, you will want to file for copyright infringement in order to be able to get statutory damages. And number 3, you will want to file for copyright infringement as soon as for copyright registration as soon as possible, so that if you do it within 3 months of creation of the copyright, it will be retroactive to the date that you created the work. And in all events, if you get it before an infringement occurs, you'll be protected in order to get statutory damages. There are lots of other things to know about copyrights, but those are the main things I wanted to talk about today. The importance, if you have copyrighted materials that you're creating in your business, why you might want to go ahead and file for copyright protection, copyright registration. Okay, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and give me a call. And until next time, we'll see you on DPS Legal Counsel's series of episodes, of video episodes. This one is in our series, Business is More Exciting Than Any Game. Thanks. We'll see you next time.